This is the plaintiff, Jessica Rosenberg. She says she purchased the Chihuahua from the defendant, and the poor thing turned out to have diabetes. The defendant told her the dog came with a full 6-month guarantee, with a full refund if anything went wrong. Obviously, she did not honor that agreement, and now she wants the money she's owed to the tune of $3,716.65. This is the defendant, Estelle Perdue. She says the plaintiff called a few weeks after taking the puppy home and complained she couldn't get the dog to like her. As far as she can tell from the vet reports, the puppy did not have diabetes, but was a bit hypoglycemic, which is common amongst the breed. She says she offered the plaintiff another dog and she refused. So as far as she's concerned, it's just not her fault. She's accused of selling a bad pup.
Okay, Jessica Rosenberg.
Hi.
You are suing Estelle Perdue?
Correct.
Who's Estelle?
I am.
Okay, and Donna Quiles?
That's my sister.
Okay, and you're here for moral support? All right, for $3,768.65 in vet bills, future vet bills, and the cost of a Chihuahua that you bought.
Correct.
That has had numerous health issues. Okay, tell me what happened here.
I went to her home on March 9th to purchase the dog. She told me that her daughter breeds the dogs in Puerto Rico. She mails them up here, sends them to her, and she sells them in New York.
But first tell me, Ms. Perdue, you have another daughter?
I have a daughter, Donna, that lives in Puerto Rico.
Okay,
This
and
is my
tell me
daughter,
about
Tina.
and tell me about the litters. How does that work?
She breeds them. They're not for commercial sale. She comes up with them. She brings them for friends as gifts. She sells a few.
Well, how did you sell this one to Ms. Rosenberg? You didn't know her. She wasn't a friend of yours or her daughter.
There was an ad.
Right. So obviously
Right.
they're for sale. I mean.
Oh yes, some
Okay.
are for sale and some are gifts to
All
the
right.
family
And
members.
how many have you sold for your daughter?
Well, this is the first one I've sold for her.
For your daughter?
For my daughter.
Have you sold some for
my
somebody
daughter,
else, or?
Usually my daughter stays up here and she sells the puppies.
Sells them herself. Okay. And so how many times has she come? When you say usually, how many times has she come up to sell the dog?
Maybe twice a year.
So you come in and you purchase the Chihuahua. Do you have a picture?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I have multiple pictures of the dog, but these were the two pictures on the ad that she had put on in Newsday. I've seen after that multiple ads with her phone number for other dogs. So,
Do you have those?
no, I did not bring them.
Have you put? You say this was the first. Have there been others since then?
Yes, there's been other.
Okay. So now, is this a Chihuahua?
Yeah, he's a long-haired Chihuahua. That was the pictures that she had put in Newsday.
Okay.
That I had printed
So
out.
you get the dog, and the dog cost you how much?
$750.
Do you
and
have the
I do
paperwork
receipt.
from?
Yes, I have the
let me
receipt.
see the paperwork.
This
And
is
what
the
goes wrong?
receipt. On the receipt, you'll notice that she did sign her daughter's name.
Did you sign your daughter's name on the receipt?
Yes, I did.
How come?
Because I was receiving the money from my daughter. It wasn't for me. I also have a bank deposit going into my daughter's bank account.
Okay. But is your premise that you don't feel you should be in the lawsuit?
My sister was here for a number of weeks, and something happened at home, and she had to unexpectedly go back to Puerto Rico. So that's why she wasn't here when the sale was made.
Okay.
She had placed the ad in Newsday. My mother didn't have anything to do
With
with
her
it.
phone number.
Okay. But who's the one who sold the dog? You sold the dog. You talked
purchased
to
the
them.
dog
you-
from
Well,
her.
in reality, I was there to make the
physically.
exchange.
But then you signed. Did you notice that she was signing a name that wasn't her name?
I didn't notice that until
Until after
later
everything
on,
hits
yeah.
the fan. All right. So you bring the dog home, and what's
I
the
brought
dog's
the
name?
dog, Charlie.
Charlie.
I didn't name the dog.
Charlie,
right
a
away,
girl
but
or a boy?
He's a little boy.
Okay. And so what happens?
Over a course of 3 months, the dog just. When I first brought him home, he didn't seem playful. I just thought that he was adjusting to his environment. I noticed a very foul-smelling odor from his mouth. I had the dog vaccinated. I brought him back to the vet.
You got the dog
second-
on mid-March.
Yeah.
And during the course of the 3 months from March to June, you take the dog to the vet how many times?
Countless. I mean,
No,
probably
countless
about
isn't
20.
an answer. I need
About
an answer.
20, at least about 15, 20 times.
You haven't counted it.
I haven't actually
Okay,
counted
so I'm going to
it.
have
No.
to do that. All right,
Yeah,
and then,
I did
so
not
now,
actually count that.
when you take the dog to the vet, you take the dog to the vet a few days after you purchase the dog. to
Yeah, I
find out if
brought him
everything's
there for
okay.
the first visit on the 11th of March.
And everything is fine on that day.
Well, the vet had noted that he did smell the foul odor. He wasn't really sure. He said it could be a little esophagitis. He really wasn't sure where it came from, so I did change the dog's diet, which I also did
But why
have that
are you,
conversation
that's one of the
with
bills
her.
that you're suing her for. Why would your routine check of the dog be something that they have to pay?
Because I did purchase the animal from her. The animal was sick. So being that it was less than the amount that I purchased the dog for, he was unfit for sale.
No, hold on. That's way later. I'm saying, look, even if you're entitled to bills, and we'll discuss that in a moment,
Okay.
and we'll discuss unfit for sale, and we'll discuss everything else, because a lot more happens to this
Yeah,
dog. So
yeah.
we'll get, but the only bills you'd be entitled to are the ones that are reasonably related to whatever defect you're complaining about.
Okay.
Rabies, you don't get covered by them.
Okay.
Have they discovered anything congenital in those 4 months? No.
Yeah, they did discover that he had liver disease.
You went to 2 vets.
I went to 2 separate vets
Which
because
which vet declares him to have liver disease that is a congenital defect?
that would be Dr. Schumann signed the letter who did see him.
Which,
but
I'm sorry, which veterinarian?
That's Sayville
office?
Animal Hospital.
Okay. Do you have an unfit for purchase certificate from
Yes.
Sayville?
No. I have a letter from Sayville saying his diagnosis,
Give me the letter from Sayville.
but Massapequa was the more specialized vet.
By June 3rd, the vet that you're seeing, which at the time is Sayville Hospital for Animals, certifies that he's been a patient of theirs, that he's received all appropriate vaccines, that he has a history of excessive thirst and urination, that he has diabetes and liver disease, but does not say
No,
that he
they
has a
didn't
congenital. In
mention-
fact, they never say that. There's further testing is required to determine if these conditions are congenital. So you take the dog for further testing
Yes.
at the next place.
Correct.
All right, and the next place is Massapequa.
Yes,
All right,
Massapequa.
and the folks at Massapequa, according to you, you say that you take them over there because they're more specialized?
Yeah, the problems that the dog was having are very unique for a dog his age.
And the problems that he's having were based on his liver.
The liver is totally separate. The diabetes, the liver, and the mange are all separate issues.
Okay,
He
which
also
is the
was-
one that's rare for his age?
The diabetes.
All right, talk to me. Tell me, are you getting phone calls from her telling you, look, there's a bunch of problems. This dog has cost me a ridiculous amount of money. You guys owe me some money.
She called me a couple of times in the beginning to tell me the dog was not reacting to her, that he seemed to be more friendly with the boyfriend. And
Is that the boyfriend or is this a different boyfriend?
This is my boyfriend, the same one.
The same one?
Yeah,
from
but
then.
that's
Okay.
not what I said.
I
Okay, go ahead.
suggested, since the dog was with a bunch of other little puppies, that she play with him and try to get him to interact with her. I had told her not to change the dog food. She was complaining that he had diarrhea. I said, don't change his dog food, because that will cause the diarrhea. And everything seemed to be fine from that point. At one point, she did call, and I told her to call my daughter.
What did she call and tell you that caused you to say, call my daughter?
She called June 3rd. She said the dog was sick. She had him to the vet. And she went into detail about
Did she explain the liver problems and the diabetes and all this other
No,
stuff?
not all of that.
What did she say?
The diabetes and the eyes tearing. And I said, well, call my daughter. My daughter will take care of you. Whatever needs to be done, she will take care of it for
Okay,
you.
so she had to call your daughter where? In Puerto
In
Rico? you
Puerto
mean?
Rico.
Okay, all right, so go on.
So Donna had a conversation with her. I have the phone bill here.
May I see that? And what's your version of the conversation you had with Donna?
I explained to her all the problems that the dog had, that he was diagnosed with, and she told me at that point that she would reimburse me all of the money for my vet bills up until that point, and she would take the dog and put the dog down. We had decided that that wasn't going to happen. So we had come to the conclusion that she would give me back $950, and I would be able to keep the dog.
Okay.
Which
And you were
he
happy
was
with
present
that?
for that conversation.
And you were present
Yeah,
for that
she told me
conversation.
that
Come on
she
up.
needed
You
a
were
little bit.
how were you present for that conversation?
She was on speakerphone in a living room in the house that we both live in.
Okay. And that was an acceptable solution for you?
Yes, she
But it
told me
didn't
that-
happen?
No, she never sent me anything. I called
Did
her.
you call her again?
Numerous times.
So if you bought a pup from a pet store or a breed or whatever, and the dog had diabetes, would you keep it?
Absolutely. No questions, yes.
Okay, I mean, that's not exactly what you bargained for, but you'd keep the dog, right?
You know, it's definitely unfortunate, but you made that commitment to that puppy, so definitely I would keep it.
I love you guys. I love you guys. Going inside the courtroom.
Have you had a chance to see the bills?
The bills that she sent us from
The vet
the
bills?
vet bills were faxed to us.
Okay.
And we went through them, and like you said, most of them were routine vet bills, and that's why.
Well, a lot of them. I don't know if I'd say most of them, but a lot of them are. But did you see the ones that talk about Massapequa does?
We didn't get any bills from Massapequa. The last bills we got were from Sayville.
The bills from the folks at Massapequa say this animal has a congenital problem and it was unfit for sale, which is, you know, the thing that somebody in their position wants to prove to a judge in order to be able to claim their vet expenses. So what I want now is, she's done a lot of the talking, and now I want to give you a chance to respond to the things that she has said here. What's your position? If you want to speak, whoever wants to speak is fine. No, you do it. You do it.
The only vet bills that we got, like I said, were from Sayville. We never received anything from Massapequa or any other place saying anything. And the bills that we had received didn't say anything about diabetes or liver disease. All it said was...
The Sayville does
Hold
say
on, I'm
diabetes.
sorry. Hold on. Go ahead.
So my sister and I went through them on the phone together, and, you know, we tried to pick out the ones that had problems that weren't like routine puppy shots and things like that. And, you know, like, we couldn't figure out how she was coming up with the amount that she wanted.
A lot of this, you know, doesn't look to have anything to do with a leaky eye, because it doesn't have anything to do with it.
That's common in
Yeah,
Chihuahuas.
yes, I agree with you. So I have dissected these bills, and what I'm really looking at, and the biggest chunk of the liability here is going to end up being the testing that now has to happen to figure out what to do for the dog, because the dog has a pretty serious problem. Did you ever send the Massapequa bills to them?
No.
Okay. I've gone through your medical bills, and I've deducted from your medical bills those bills that I believe are for routine care of a dog that everybody has to go through. And that leaves me with, up to now, $651.68 in medical bills that I think the defendant has to pay. There's an additional $1,900 in testing that now has to happen to be able to care for the dog, and I'm going to order that they pay that as well. I am not going to order them to pay the cost of the dog, because you're not giving back the dog, you're not returning the dog, you've decided you're going to keep the dog, because of course you've bonded with the dog, and Charlie is your dog now, and you're Charlie's mommy, and you have no intention of giving the dog back. You don't get the cost of the dog. So I find in your favor in the amount of $2,551.68. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Well, so let's see what the dog folks have to say coming out on the losing end of the verdict here. First of all, what's your reaction to the outcome here?
Well, I'm a little disappointed.
Tell me why.
Well, because of the fact that she never showed us the second set of vet bills.
Mm-hmm. You feel for her situation here?
I feel for her.
I
have a dog. I own dogs, and
a sick
I had a sick dog that had to be on insulin for 4 more years. So I know what it's all about. I feel bad.
Well, you have to, it's got to be T's crossed, I's dotted now from here on out. So it's not just like a little one-time sale.
Oh, no.
You're on the hook for a lot more. Okay, head right down this way. All right, come on in here. Step on in here. Well, you did it. You satisfied how this came out?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the dog is going to cost me a lot of money over time. And, I feel like I saved an animal, because I don't think that they would have taken good care of him like I do.
So how much pain has gone into getting you to this point here?
A lot of aggravation and stress, truthfully, but I'm glad that it's all over and behind us.
How is the dog?
He's doing better, treatment, like she said, is going to be lifelong, but he's happy, he's in a good home, and I love him very much.
He's as happy as he's going to get.
Yeah.
Right. You know the feeling, right?
Yep.
Okay. Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, many states have laws governing exactly what happens or what your rights are if you buy a sick dog from a pet store or a breeder. My advice still, adopt a pet. I'm telling you, it is the way to go. These dogs never forget. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.